In 1972, a computer model at MIT made a terrifying prediction. It said if we kept growing our economy, our system would crash. The date of the collapse, around the year 2040. For 50 years, people laughed at that prediction. Well, nobody is laughing anymore. We just got the updated data, and we are right on schedule. In fact, the first crack in the system has already appeared. July 24th, 2025. That is the day humanity ran out of planet for the year. It's called Earth Overshoot Day. This is the moment we use more resources than Earth can grow back in 1 year. Everything after that date, we are stealing. We are borrowing from a future that cannot pay us back. Here is the truth. We don't live on one Earth anymore. We are burning through 1.7 Earths every single year, and that number keeps growing. This isn't about recycling more. It's not about buying electric cars. This is a head-on collision between two systems. One is an economy that demands to grow forever. The other is a planet with a hard ceiling. For a century, we were told that growth solves everything. More money, more jobs, more stuff. But the hardware is failing. The biology is breaking. And the bill is coming due. The question isn't whether infinite growth will end. Physics already answered that. The question is, what happens to you when it does? Let me show you how the math works. Scientists calculate two numbers every year. First, how much the planet can grow back. Second, how much we consume. When you do the math, you get the day we run out. In 2025, that day was July 24th. That is 8 days earlier than 2024. The 2026 predicted Earth Overshoot Day is a staggering June 5th. Why? Because the ocean is absorbing less of our pollution. Also, several key data points have seen significantly worsening decline, resulting in an updated baseline. The safety buffer is shrinking. But here is the scary part. We are at 1.7 Earths. Imagine Earth is a bank account. We are spending 170% of what comes in every year. We aren't living off the interest anymore. We are eating the cash in the vault. Think of it like a spaceship. You have enough air and food for 1 year, but the crew eats it all in 7 months. The last 5 months aren't just uncomfortable. They are fatal. Most people think this is just about pollution, smog, plastic in the ocean. But overshoot is different. Overshoot means we are eating the machine itself. We are cutting down the forests that make oxygen. We are draining the water needed to grow food. We are breaking the climate systems that keep us alive. You can't fix that with a tax. You can't fix it with a recycling bin. The system is too big for the container. And the container isn't getting bigger. It is a ball, 7,917 miles wide, floating in space. That's it. That's all we get. So if the math is this obvious, why do we ignore it? Because our economy doesn't run on addition. It runs on multiplication. We call it exponential growth. That means doubling. If the economy grows 3% a year, it doubles every 23 years. That sounds okay, right? Until you realize what doubling means. Twice the mining, twice the energy, twice the trash. And it never stops. The next doubling is bigger than all of history combined. Here is the problem. Humans are terrible at understanding this type of growth. We think in straight lines, a little more each year. But exponential growth is a curve, and curves don't climb, they explode. There is a riddle that explains this perfectly. A lily pad doubles in size every day. On day 30, it covers the entire pond. On what day does it cover half the pond? Day 29. On day 29, everything looks fine. There is still half the pond left. Plenty of room, no reason to panic. Then overnight, it's over. We are on day 29. Back in 1972, those MIT scientists built a model. They ran a business-as-usual scenario. It showed the system collapsing in the middle of this century. People called them pessimistic. They called them anti-progress. But guess what? Researchers checked the model against real-world data recently. The predictions were shockingly accurate. We are tracking perfectly with the collapse. Growth looks slow and safe right until it becomes a vertical wall. And by the time you see the wall, you are already hitting it. But our money system says, if you stop growing, you die. Here is the secret they don't teach you in school. Our whole financial system is a bet on the future. Every dollar of debt is a promise. Mortgages, student loans, government debt. It is a promise that the economy will be bigger tomorrow than today, bigger enough to pay back the loan, plus interest. Look at pensions. A teacher retires expecting $50,000 a year. Where does that money come from? It comes from investing in stocks that assume 7% growth. But to get 7% profit, the real economy must grow. More sales, more profit, more expansion. If growth stops, if we hit the wall of nature, the math breaks. The pension disappears, the stock market crashes, the debt blows up. This is why every government is obsessed with GDP. It's not about you being rich, it's about survival. The system is a bicycle. If it stops moving forward, it falls over. We think of recessions as temporary glitches, but in a finite world, the end of growth isn't a recession. It's physics. And our financial system treats physics like the apocalypse. So we are trapped. Biology says stop. Finance says stopping is death. Naturally, economists have a comeback. They call it green growth. They say technology will save us. It sounds beautiful. Green growth means we keep getting richer, but we use less nature. Electric cars, solar panels, circular economies. They say technology will separate money from resources. And to be fair, we have made progress. Modern cars use less gas than cars from the 1970s. We are more efficient. But here is the problem. We didn't buy fewer cars. We bought more cars, bigger cars, heavier cars, and we drove them further. So even though the car got cleaner, the total pollution went up. This is called the Jevons paradox. When you make something efficient, you make it cheaper. When it's cheaper, people use more of it. We see this everywhere. LED bulbs use way less power than old bulbs. Great. But now we leave lights on all the time. We put lights on our houses, gardens, and streets. We use more energy, not less. The data is clear. We have not separated growth from trash. Mining is still going up. Emissions are still going up. We are still at 1.7 Earths. Let's look at electric vehicles. Yes, they have no tailpipe. But building 1 billion batteries requires a massive mining boom. Lithium, cobalt, rare earth metals. The damage just moves to a different column on the spreadsheet. You cannot innovate your way out of the laws of physics. You cannot 3D print more Earths. Technology solves efficiency. It does not solve size. So if tech won't save us, what happens when we hit the wall? Overshoot doesn't look like a Hollywood movie. It looks like your grocery bill. It looks like insurance companies leaving your state. Why? Because climate disasters cost too much money. They can't pay the claims anymore. It looks like inflation that never goes away. Not because of the bank, but because the physical stuff we need is getting harder to find. Food, energy, water, wood. Economists call it greenflation. This is the cost of living in a world that is running out. Here is what is happening right now. The natural systems that protect us are failing. Remember the ocean? It absorbs carbon, but now it absorbs less than we thought. That's why Earth Overshoot Day jumped 8 days earlier in 2025. The ocean was buying us time, now it's not. Forests burn faster than they grow back. Water drains faster than it refills. These aren't just nature problems. This is the infrastructure of our economy. And when infrastructure fails, the economy stops. We expect a big crash, a single moment when everything breaks. But that's not how it works. It is a slow grind. Prices that never come down. Wages that don't keep up. Roads that crumble because there is no money to fix them. A permanent crisis that feels like the new normal, because it is the new normal. This is what Overshoot looks like. Not the end of the world, just the end of the assumption that tomorrow will be better than today. So, what comes next? Here is the good news. The end of growth is not the end of happiness. Humanity lived for thousands of years without exponential growth. Stable societies, rich cultures, long lives. Growth is not a law of nature. It is a choice we made 200 years ago when we found oil. We can make a different choice. It's called post-growth or degrowth. The idea is simple. We use less stuff. We mine less. We throw away less. But we keep or improve our quality of life. How? By separating happiness from GDP. Take the 4-day work week. You work less. You produce less stuff. But your health gets better. Your relationships get deeper. Your stress drops. By most measures, your life gets better. That is degrowth in action. Less stuff, more life. Or look at donut economics. There is a floor of basic needs: food, water, housing, and there is a ceiling, the limits of the planet. The goal is to live in the middle. Enough for everyone, but not too much for the Earth. This isn't about going back to caves. It's about redesigning the system. We need debt that doesn't require infinite growth. We need energy that runs on the sun, not oil. We need to measure success by health, not sales. The question isn't, can we keep growing? Physics already said no. The question is, what does a good life look like when the party's over? Because the party is over, and what comes next is up to us. The computer models predicted a collapse, but they didn't predict human creativity. We hit the wall of infinite growth, yes, but that just means it's time to build something new, a world focused on time, health, and people. I want to hear from you. Are you ready for a degrowth lifestyle? Let me know in the comments. We don't need a bigger economy to have a rich life. We just need a different one.